from Innerdelight, and welcome back to another Joyful Connections episode. And I'm delighted to be welcoming back Kip de Moll here today. Hi, Kip.
Hi, Tina. This is a lot of fun.
It sure is. And, talking about joy and inner delight, which seems to talk about different chakras and energy systems and what they relate to. You were sharing a little bit in our break about an incident that really had you look at your second chakra and your sexuality in the world. This is going to be a juicy call. Bring it on, Kip. What happened?
Well, interestingly enough, I'm going to go straight to the end of the story because it was so clearly an incident around my power as a man, which was, symbolized in the groin and my second chakra. The actual lesson was that it was less about sexuality and more about manhood and power and self-power, empowerment. So in October 2009, I was doing construction work, and I fell off a scaffold. And my whole motivation was actually to be getting out of construction, and yet I would keep taking a job to get some cash and food on the table. And this was not an accident. It was affirmation that I really needed to get out of construction or it really would kill me. I fell about 12 feet and I straddled a piece of the equipment called a ladder jack. I actually didn't recognize how much of a problem there was, and went home, told the woman I would be back to clean up a little bit later, and I got some ice for my hand, which I had just, kind of had a sore hand that was swelling up pretty fast. And I called some people and said, well, I fell, but I think I'm okay, and I'm going to get through the night. And ironically, the last piece of my divorce had just ended my health insurance 2 weeks earlier. And so I was like, I'm uninsured. I forgot to, I hadn't gotten to filling out the form to get my insurance. And so, I'm not going to go to the hospital. I kind of secluded myself and I went to go to the bathroom. And the next thing I knew, I was draped over my bathtub. I have no idea how long I was unconscious, but turns out that I had ruptured my urethra. And my best friend is a doctor, and he and I were on the phone a lot. He said, as long as you can pee, you're going to be okay. And so I spent the night getting very excited about the fact that I thought I was dribbling this little bit of pee out, and feeling a little relief and like, yeah, okay, so I'm going to be okay. Well, it turns out I was basically peeing back into myself, and by morning it was clear that it was really a bad situation. And by Saturday afternoon, I awoke with two catheters in my body, and one in my belly and one coming out the penis. And lived that way for 10 weeks, and then finally for actually 2 full years, because of the health insurance situation, ended up with the tube in my belly, hooked up to a bag and living on a catheter, unable to pee. And sexually, the interesting thing was, well, the doctor prescribed that I needed to exercise to keep the blood flowing and stimulated, or I would lose my sexuality over this time. And so because there was this blockage, it turns out being this incredible metaphor that I could orgasm without an ejaculation. So
What an experience, eh?
I've spent, 2 years in this place of living with a huge blockage of energy and passion, and internalizing literally the force of this energy. And So it was, really easy to say, wow, okay, so, what's the lesson here? Oh, do I, want to be a man and heal myself up, or do I want to live with a catheter the rest of my life and be blocked? The answer seemed to be pretty obvious, but between insurance bureaucracy and other issues, it was pretty confusing. To the point where when we finally were lined up, when I was finally lined up to have the surgery, I really had to look at, did I actually want to be healed deep down inside? Was the message that I was getting that, was this all around a really deep-seated shame, or, what are the messages? So I actually ended up writing a huge series of essays, about 10,000 words worth, which are, you can read it all at my website, that really looked at my own personal sense of sexuality and how I was raised to, sort of be in a dark closet about it. That basically it wasn't, we were talking about men and our ability to talk, and, in the U.S. there's a very strange conversation around sexuality. It's blasted all over the advertising. It's supposed to be, this thing that's going on in everybody's life 20 times a day. But in reality, we're all kind of thwarted and shut down and not really talking about it. So I took the opportunity to talk and write about it and put this out there like I am right now, that I was challenged and I had to really make a decision. So I'm leading up to the surgery and I'm really thinking about, well, gosh, if with a mind-body connection of your health, the surgeon may do, it was a risky operation, and he could sever it for me and make it so I couldn't function anymore. And I could possibly make that happen for whatever, no matter how perfect he operated, it could still not function in the end. So I really worked at what are my shadows, what are my suppressed emotions around this whole important aspect of our life. And so I was pretty worked up that I needed to fix this, in my head before I underwent the surgery, and was unconscious for 10 hours. Ironically, the insurance was coming to a head where they actually, within a week of the surgery, were not going to fund it because of a bureaucratic mix-up. And it looked like it wasn't going to happen, and I would have to wait another year to get on the list. And it was pretty powerful. And I had to really go to bat for it. I ended up, at one point, I was talking to a woman on the phone, and I said, "You've got to understand, I'm a 57-year-old man sitting in a parking lot, in my car in a parking lot, tears running down my face, and I'm clutching my balls, and I really need this operation." And, that had a good effect. She said, "You know what, I'm going to put you in touch with this person." And, things began to flow after that, to the point where they did the surgery and things flowed. And 10 months later, or 11 months later, way ahead of the recuperating schedule that they had predicted, where it could be a year to 18 months before I had my energy back, I'm really pretty strong and pretty healed up. So, it was about empowerment. It was about getting what I deserved. and really standing up for my rights to, to say I matter, and no matter the rules and the rigmarole that they were going to put me through, I deserved this to happen, and people could make it happen, and it just needed somebody to stand there and say, I need this. And as soon as I reached that point, it all shifted, and things really, really came out well. So, that's the biggest lesson I got out of it.
Stand up for yourself to speak, and that's really making the shift. I think an interesting thing you mentioned there, and I think there in society there is so much confusion around this, is about really empowerment, what power means, because so oftentimes, and I think especially in male upbringing, power has been confused with force or power
Yeah,
over,
right,
and that is not true power, not embodying your power. So
right.
yeah.
Yeah, this was a great lesson to say, it's not hurting you, it's something I need, and you can help me get it.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was a very different prospect and proposition that people then went, oh, yeah, 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 we can do this for you. Okay. And it was not a threatening situation. It was, again, showing my vulnerability,
Mm.
and, just being strong enough to say, I'm really weak. I really need this.
Mm-hmm. And so asking for help. Did you have support from other men in your life throughout this phase in your life?
Oh, yeah, yeah. This men's group that I'm in was emotionally really rallying. Because I tell the story to people, and you watch everybody grimaces as soon as I describe what happened,
Yeah, you're like
and
I can almost feel it. It's like ooh.
everybody's clutching. It's just an instinctual protection. And the truth is, yeah, we're all really connected there in a way that it's such a powerful place. So everybody had to look at themselves. It created an opportunity for everybody to think and wonder how they might handle the situation. Um, and So there was a lot of support from men.
That's powerful. And I would think that that would be something too, to inspire others. I think so many men think, oh, women do it too, think we have to this Lone Ranger mentality. I got to do it all on my own, and to even the thought of asking for help or support in anything, it's like
Yeah,
And yet, what a beautiful testament, or how do you call it? A confirmation that if you do speak up for what you need, you're being vulnerable, you're letting yourself be seen, that support is absolutely available for you.
yeah,
So thank
yeah.
you for
The universe
sharing that.
delivered. Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. And, how would you say that your relationship with your father would have influenced this?
Well,
In 5 minutes or less.
he's he's got a catheter as well. And so
Wow.
he's 87 years old at this point, and so we sat side by side, and compared, our techniques for changing the bags, and how we had to go about it, and it was a most curious type of bonding.
Were you able to talk with him about the emotional side of things for you, or the transformation that you were going through?
I could, and it's been fascinating. He has, a big piece of it is that he could never, he was not good at communicating, and my mother stood between us and translated everything, and it all came through her filters. All the interaction that we had for the most part, and she developed Alzheimer's, and eventually died during this time. And he has really, there's no longer the filter there. So he's had to speak directly. And he's nearly blind. He's nearly deaf. He's really not able to do very much at all at this point. But for some reason, he's holding on. And we're having quite an amazing dialogue because he's open enough to say, I'm ready to die. You know, I'm ready. And I don't think anything's going to happen. I'm just going to go to sleep. And so what? I'm ready. And, you know, to one of my sisters and I are constantly kind of inserting, well, you know, Dad, there may be something beyond going to sleep. And you have an opportunity, given that you're talking about this, that, you know, we could like develop some techniques and maybe we could keep on talking. Yeah, he's actually in a very skeptical way, at least listening and hearing the conversation, and actually asked us to have a family meditation around my mom's death at one point.
Wow.
And kind of said, well, you know, I didn't feel anything. And my sister's going, oh, yeah, her spirit was there, was floating all around. I could feel her so strongly. And my dad's just like, yeah, whatever. But he asked.
Yeah. Awesome. And so how, and you know, talking about relationship with your dad, well, how has this impacted your son? Just say, has he seen things shift between you and your dad and between you and him?
Yeah. He's, you know, he is very aware of how it's been with my dad. My dad's nickname to the grandchildren is Grumps. Because of his attitude, and it's you know, it's endearing. He's joking about it, but at the same time, he's just really, you know, people admit he's got an attitude that scares you. You know? And my son and I have a real palsy attitude. We're really forthcoming and open with each other, and it's a very different kind way of being. And so, you know, I think we're going to go through life. We talk about the fact that we play in golf and we actually play soccer together, and talk about, as I'm getting older, what we can still do together. You know, we'll still be playing golf forever. You know, I sort of take each game at a time now in the soccer, but where last night we were elbow to elbow pushing each other for the ball. It was pretty. And in serious soccer, we're playing with a lot of Europeans and South Americans. It's like there's a lot of shoving.
Mm-hmm.
So,
awesome. Wow.
Very different way of being.
So where to from here?
Well, I'm actually, since we've been talking about the whole accident thing, I will say I've got 3 books in process right now, and 2 are construction related, but the third one is Zen and the Art of the Midlife Crisis. Goes from generations of my past up to the point that I really re-embraced writing and music. And then the next book starts with the fall off the scaffold and goes through this whole episode of male introspection, and I'm calling it the Pequel.
The Pequel instead of the sequel.
Exactly. Whether that'll be on the actual title or not, you know, it's the working title, and I have the option to self-publish, so we'll see what happens. But I'm writing
that
a
will
book.
pique people's curiosity.
There you go. There's a lot of room to play with that one. That's a good one. But on a more conventional side, I'm writing a book for geared to homeowners. About how to remodel your home and save your marriage doing it, which is a lot of advice from 30 years of contracting experience working closely with couples, how to, absolutely, do it as a team. effort. And then also a book, a roadmap to a successful construction business for building contractors, on all the things you got to do. And, it's based mostly on my experience of the things I did that were wrong. And by inverse logic, I can figure out what I should have done. So I've got those projects going, and setting up consulting businesses around that. And I'm working on going to be doing a telesummit in around the solstice, and a follow-up one in December when we go through this great event, whether it actually is a reality of ending of the world as the apocalyptic visions might suggest, or that we really just, there's so much energy focused on December 21st that by the sheer force of that world energy focus, I think something really powerful is going to transpire. So working on a telesummit around that period, to be, kind of share in all the excitement and exuberance as we to head, maybe it'll be like the Y2K, that the date comes and goes and we're like,
what's the first transition into a new way of being in the world? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all internal. It's what we make of it. If we want to believe it's really something powerful coming up, that's what it's going to be. And I'm taking that attitude. I'm looking forward to it. And on a day-to-day basis, I'm running into people like you who are all really embracing the idea and using it as a catalyst, and a way to communicate, unite, and make our world a better place. So.
Yeah, gosh, it's so great. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to spend this time with you, Kip, and I think for you sharing about your experiences and talking about things that, as you say, are often kept under the covers, That's kind of a pun if we talk about the subject. Oops. Well, yeah, there's so many times that this is just not talked about, and yet how absolutely liberating when it is allowed to be just brought out into the open and to just talk about what is, and recognize too how important it is to be able to go through these things together, have support in place.
Yeah.
Awesome. Wow. So one last thought, what you would like to leave our listeners with, our viewers with.
A line from the first song that came through me in this new incarnation of myself. The song's called Broken Mirrors, and it's about stepping into the light and throwing off the shadows that we might feel. It's based on the image of looking at yourself in the mirror and being unhappy with what you see, and instead of changing the way you look, throw the mirror aside, smash the mirror, and be who you are. And so my favorite line from that is, dare to sing at the top of your lungs. Mm-hmm. I think we all need to just really open our hearts and embrace this wonderful life, and really stand up and sing out at the top of your lungs your joy, and celebrate with each other this precious gift that we have.
Beautiful. Thanks, Kip. Well, people, you can take a look at the website kipdemoll.com, and for people to connect with you, they can find your contact information there. I'm sure we're going to be hearing a lot more from you. I look forward to it. We didn't even get into the music part, but maybe that will be another call with
on
your
the
guitar.
Website. There's the music's all available.
Awesome. Well, until the next time, many joyful blessings.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.